Hey guys, Andrew Kopp here, and this is my first video I'll be making. Well, I am making that I'll be doing like this. So, I've been reading this book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Right here, Right Hook. By a guy I found very pronounced. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk. Little context about Gary. He grew up in the Soviet Union. You know, he came with his parents as immigrants, and they grew up the American dream, right? You come as immigrants, you come from nothing, you work hard, and you make it to something. Well, why I'm reading this book is because it speaks a lot about marketing. And I know a lot of you guys out there are, it's like the age of entrepreneurship. You know, from the Mark Zuckerbergs and Bill Gates, they made entrepreneurship sexy. So everybody's trying to be an entrepreneur, but nobody's actually knowing how to get their message out, right? I mean, I'm going to joke a little bit here, but, everybody's trying to get their mixtape, right? Buy my mixtape, or, read my blog. Everybody's pushing. And what Gary Vaynerchuk calls that is a right hook. He calls, that call to action, when you want somebody to do something for you, he calls that a right hook. And the problem is nobody's jabbing enough. And by jabbing, that means, what are you doing to provide value first for your customer before you ask them to do something for you? And that's the mistake a lot of entrepreneurs are making right now. They're just right hooking. Okay, so Gary Vaynerchuk compares marketing to like telling a story. He says right here, I quote, "It's just like when you're telling a good story. The punchline or climax has no power without the exploitation and action that comes before it." So what he's saying is, like, when you tell a story, you say, the punchline gets everybody laughing. There's nothing without what you built it up to be. So before you go out and tell people to do something, you have to build it up, just like you would build up a story. A lot of companies, a lot of businesses are getting into social media just because they think they need to have a Twitter or have a Facebook just to be credible. And you can see this by, people not posting enough content, people not replying to their fans when they tweet at them. These are all signs of doing social media wrong. Social media it's just like, it's kind of just like real life, from what Gary is explaining. And he also says something I found very pronounced. He says this about adapting, because he's big on adapting to your first market. He says, just because your teenage daughter or your children are excited about a new platform, it doesn't mean that the platform is irrelevant. And I know a lot of you guys see that about Facebook today. When we first got on Facebook, our parents were like, what is this? Twitter, what is that? I don't want to tweet. Nobody's going to care about what I'm eating or this, that, and the third. And now everybody is on it, right? I gave my mom my iPad, and the only reason why she won is because she wants to go on Facebook. And what's so sad about this is that when companies finally do take the leap and finally do want to join a social media market, what's happening? The younger people are going on to something else. So what he is basically a proponent of is being a first adapter, being the first one to the social media site before everybody gets there. What he's really good at is knowing where you're going to go before you want to go there. And to be successful in this day of information, this day of entrepreneurship, is you have to be a first adapter. You have to believe that social media is not a fad because it's not. And once you believe that social media is not a fad, now it's just a game of who's going to get there first, who's going to establish a authority on the social media site first before it hits scale. One last thing I kind of want to go over in this book was the different social media sites. What he says is that you should use a different tone on all social medias. And this, how many people you see tweeting their Instagram photos on their Twitter, right? They share their Instagram photos on Twitter, so when you're on Twitter, you just see the link, right? And then people have to click the link to see the Instagram photo. What he's saying is that you should treat each social media site as if it's their own. So instead of putting the photo on Twitter and sharing it, putting the photo on Instagram and sharing it to your Twitter, just put the picture on Twitter with different captions, because each website, each social media site is unique, and people can tell when you're not putting your effort in to reach them. So if you're just putting it on one site, sharing it, and using social media as a distribution chain, it's not going to work. Why? Because everybody's doing that. But if you treat each social media site as its own entity, you take time to find out the nuances of it, then you can really reach your customer, right? Because what's going to work on Twitter is not going to work on Instagram. And, you know, and I could post my grades on Facebook, but my Instagram people don't want to see that bull stuff. You know, that bullshit. I don't know why I try not to curse, but, you know, that's basically the gist of what he's saying. So, like I said, this book is called Jab, 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 Right Hook. I'll be doing more of these summaries, trying to get you guys information without you having going to read the book by yourself, because my job here is to save you time. So this is, like I said, this is my first video. Comment down below. I would love, you know, or on the side on Facebook, right? Because I'm doing this natively, right? On Facebook, it will be different than YouTube. So I'm kind of practicing what I'm preaching here. But, you know, just comment and tell me what you guys, what you want to see, what books you want me to read. And so I can kind of have a direction of where I want to bring this. Thank you so much. See you later.